Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Randall. Can you guys feel the love in this room tonight? It's amazing. I'd like to read from an essay called Erotics, Chapter 2, Father's Day. It's the end of the essay. It's about the summer after I broke up with a boyfriend. In this section, I had just graduated from school, and my parents were visiting me for my graduation and staying in my apartment. I snuck a boy in. And long story short, in the middle of the night, he managed to get up and go to the bathroom and end up naked in bed with my father. And oh yeah, this was the night before Father's Day. 2 days later, my parents left New York. They haven't visited since. It might be because I left that apartment with its space for guests. Hotels in New York are too expensive for their taste. It might be because we've been meeting 4 times a year in Minnesota to say goodbye to my mom's parents. On the day they left New York that last time, my father gave me a big hug. He was never the most expressive, but on that day he gave me a big hug, and he said, "I love you, and I'm proud of you." And then there was a pause, even if you scare the shit out of me sometimes. I said, "I love you too, Dad," and I meant it. 2 years later, almost to the day, I was sitting on the edge of crying over my next heartbreak in the bathroom of the boy whom I loved, but who couldn't seem not to cheat. My mom was on the phone. She was in Minnesota, in a big white cushioned chair, I can picture it now, in her mother's house. She was watching her mother die. You can only survive cancer but so many times. You can only survive but so many days without food or water. But of course, death is erotic too, if pain can be. What a bodily experience it must be, and you can only have it once. My mother was not crying. She had hardly slept. "It makes you think about things," she said, sitting in silence, waiting for someone you love to pass. "So I'm taking my turn to say things while I can. I could get hit by a bus tomorrow. You and your sister are the most important things to me in this world. I love you, and I just want you to be happy." She said that there shouldn't be things left unsaid. She asked if she needed to ask forgiveness for anything. I said, "I love you too, Mom. You and Dad were the most supportive and loving parents I could have asked for, and I know how rare that is. You have nothing to ask forgiveness for, but sometimes I feel like I do." There was silence again, and we both almost cried. I would fly to see her a few days later in Minnesota to remember her mother and how she had loved us all fiercely and no matter what. But here are some things not said. I don't know why I can say them more easily writing them down than saying them to you on the phone, Mom. I know I made it hard for you to love me sometimes, but thanks for doing it anyway. I know that sometimes it feels as though we don't have that much to talk about, but I know that if I were sick, you'd come and take care of me, and that when I have a child, finally, you will love it with all your might, even when you probably shouldn't, and so will I, because you taught me how. I know it hasn't been easy for you to have a son who lives so far away, and who is so gay, and who has loved a bunch of times, and who has lost them all so far, and who writes down our family secrets for the whole world to read, like I'm doing now. I have been messy and ugly and selfish and terrible. I have made mistakes that you and Dad have had to clean up. I once dropped a boy off naked in bed with you, Dad, on Father's Day. You love me anyway, a thick, fleshy, bloody love that never seems to dissolve or dissipate. And here is a thing not said. Sometimes I don't know how you do it. Thank you.